complementary treatment, we put flow diverter stents. Another reason can be thanks to the stents, I think, thanks to their feature, which contributes to heal the diseased vessel segment with their features. And another one, expansion of endovascular therapy to treat more complex aneurysms, which are giant aneurysms, and maybe we can add to this the location, the distal aneurysms. So this is one example. At that time, flow diverter stent with lower system compatibility was not available. Here we can see a very distally located MCA aneurysm. Imagine that the lower system compatibility flow diverter stent is not available, and somehow if you want to navigate a 27-inch microcatheter, it will take a lot of effort, as you can see here, despite using a distal access catheter. So at that time, what we do, by the way, this is the video, direct catheterization was not available in this patient. So somehow we find the exit, then we put one baby Leo, thanks to its also light flow diversion feature, and then we get through the first stent, then deploy with a telescopic fashion the second one. So two braided stents, two baby Leos implanted telescopically. This is the just after the implantation. Here you can see a nice stagnation at the aneurysm, and this is the 6-month control. The vessel is totally reconstructed with two baby Leos like a flow diverter stent. But as I say, imagine, of course you can do this with just one stent, with one flow diverter, but imagine at that time you have to navigate a 27-inch microcatheter, which would take a lot of effort, and it will be very difficult to navigate there. So another patient, this time not very distally located, was a ruptured one. It was the underlying pathology in this patient was dissection, because here you can see 3D images. The entry and the exit of the vessel of the aneurysm is diseased because it was happened in a the underlying reason was the dissection. So what we decided to do in this patient is to flow diverter stent. But because of the diseased vessel, I don't know if you can notice here, we have a 27-inch microcatheter. Here you can see one microguide wire with O14, but it was impossible to navigate. It was, I think, Phenom 27. It was impossible to navigate this microcatheter beyond the proper location to put the flow diverter stent here. So what we do, you can see here, I think we have another microguide wire here inside the microcatheter. We have O14 and O8 hybrid guide wire here. So just with the support of two microguide wires, we were able to navigate the flow diverter stent. So it takes a lot of effort to put just one flow diverter here with a 27-inch microcatheter availability. Then we have the post-procedure image, and we have the 6-month control. And as a conclusion, yes, we can see flow diverter stents works even in acute cases, but higher system compatibility sometimes put us in a difficult situation. Another patient, again, Silk Vista baby with a lower system compatibility was not available at that time. This was a patient treated surgically first. Here you can see the remnant of the aneurysm because of after the first operation. This is again the underlying pathology is dissection. We thought that at the open surgery, maybe the surgeon somehow damaged the vessel here, and that causes the appearance of the aneurysm here. But the MCA bifurcation aneurysm was stable for 2 years, so we don't want to touch that one, but of course we decided to treat this. I will show you the 3D images here. You can see again a narrowing at the entrance of the aneurysm, and acute angulated branch is coming off here, as you can see also in the other projection. So what we do, we decided to put some coils inside. This is just after the procedure. I think you also agree with me, it's a reasonable result at that time. But 6-month control, as expected, we have a very significant recanalization here. Okay, then we decided the definitive treatment would be to deploy a stent here. But as you can see, it's an acute angulated branch, and how to catheterize that one? Of course, the definite treatment would be putting a flow diverter stent here, but these angulated, you will have somehow catheterized with the microguide wire, and you will navigate a 27-inch microcatheter to this branch. I think it's close to impossibility. So what we decided to do here, we catheterized that branch with a 17-inch microcatheter to put baby Leo, and we put some, for the neck recanalism, we decided to put some coils inside, which was at that time Optima coils. We were also the first users of the Optima coils in the worldwide, and you can see the deployment of the baby Leo thanks to its braided feature again, because we are still actually sometimes using its flow diversion effects in angulated vessels because of its conformability. It also helps and reacts as a flow diverter stand also. So you can see the deployment somehow how it respects the anatomy, taking the anatomy of the vessel. This is the control after the procedure. You can see somehow a bit feeling at the aneurysm neck. This is 2-year control, and you can see here with a non-subtracted view how it nicely reconstruct the vessel without any feeling at the aneurysm neck. So we were happy. We are still happy to using the baby Leo because of its light flow diversion effect. But how it would be to put the flow diverter stent also in a 17-inch microcatheter? S.I.S Baby was launched in 2018, and I think it's a revolution for the flow diverter era, because deploying it through a 27-inch microcatheter is something, but deploying it through 18-inch microcatheter, 17-inch microcatheter is another story. And if you look inside the features of the stent, yes, it's low profile, compatible with 17-inch microcatheter. It has 48 nitronal wires and targeting the small distal vessels. There's also a paper with the contribution of multi-centers. I want to take your attention to the locations of the vessels which they deploy S.I.S Baby flow diverters. It's pericardial artery, PCA, even SCA, and the pica, of course. And they deployed S.I.S Baby in 2 ruptured cases. They also use it in an acute fashion. And the MRS score at discharge from the hospital did not change from the admission MRS score, which is also important because they also use it in an acute fashion. And they concluded it's feasible and technically safe device. If you look more deeply to its features, it's the DFT technology, totally new, which enables to see the device fully. It's a fully visible device, and DFT technology also contributes to allowing the removal of the radio-opaque markers, which also contributes again the lower system compatibility. This is just to show the previous generation and the new generation of the SIG family, SIG Plus stent and SIG Vista. You can see less artifact and fully visible with the, you can see all the appositions of the vessel wall very clearly with less artifact. And we are saying it's compatible with 17-inch microcatheter, and which you can use with Gamma 17, Headway 17 or Phenom 17. It's compatible with 3 of them without any issue, without any navigation problem, and without any friction. What about range options? It starts with 225 by 10 up to 325 by 25. Why I say so? Because flow diverter stent with a 17-inch macro compatibility with a range up to 3.25 millimeters, I think is a game changer. Because you can use, if you decide to put a flow diverter stent, you can deploy it with a 17-inch macro catheter in any vessel at or distal of the circle of Phyllis, which is very important, very easy, I think, and sometimes you can also use it in a supraconoid segment aneurysms. You know, sometimes it's also available to put that size. I think this is the true revolution. It's the second generation of the flow diverter stents. Yes, 21-inch microcatheter compatibility is also important, but let's say that 1.5 revolution, but 17-inch microcatheter compatibility is the second generation. It's another story. Is there any learning curve with the Cyclista baby? Yes, maybe a small learning curve exists because of the shortening. Why shortening? Because you put the flow diverter stent in a 17-inch microcatheter. It's very lower system, so somehow inside the microcatheter it seems a bit more longer, so it's better to deploy it without looking the length inside the microcatheter. You decide preoperatively where to wear distal and proximal landing zone and respect that way, rather than deciding it with looking inside the microcatheter. It helps to learn quickly, and you can somehow jump the learning curve. And I want to share with you a couple of cases that we performed with Cyclista baby. This is a 63 years old female. She treated in an external center. It's an A1 aneurysm treated in an external center by just coiling, and control angiograms show significant filling at the aneurysm. You can see here, AP and lateral. And what we do, we don't want to add some coils inside, just flow diverter stent, Cyclista baby, and you can see nice stagnation just after the deployment. This is AP and lateral after the procedure. Maybe at the lateral you can see some filling at the posterior border of the aneurysm. 6-1 control AP, very nice reconstruction at the A1 segment, and lateral there is no filling at all at the aneurysm with a very nice result. I want to share another case with you, 23 years old female, incidental finding. We have again distal located aneurysm at the MCA inferior trunk territory. So 3D images shows us two branches are coming off from the aneurysm. So which one to put the flow diverter in? We decided to make a balloon occlusion test to see which branch is feeling retrogradely or collateralized. And after the inflation at the parent artery, you can see one branch is coming off and feeling retrogradely. So we decided in this patient to put the flow diverter in the non-collateralized vessel. I don't know if you use it, but we are also in the old times, we were using baby Leo as a scaffolding. This is an example of that. We put baby Leo first, then we get inside the baby Leo and put the Cyclista baby inside, thanks to its again 17-inch microcatheter compatibility, because we don't need to make an exchange maneuver here. Imagine you put one baby Leo, then to put a flow diverter stent, you somehow have to exchange the microcatheter to deploy the flow diverter stent. I also want to take your attention to the distal delivery wire of the stent. You can see here, it's very soft distal tip. Even it engages in a very small vessel, somehow it becomes a J-shaped, and in our series, in our experience, we saw no hemorrhagic complication regarding the distal tip of the Cyclista baby. Even we treat very distally located aneurysm, so I think it's also important. You can see here, just after the procedure images, AP and lateral, a 1-month control, we don't have the long-term follow-up of this patient, shows us reduction in the aneurysm size, both branches are coming off the aneurysm again. I think after the branch that is collateralized will closed, that will help to the closure of the aneurysm in a silent way. Okay, another patient that I want to share with you, we first decided not to treat this patient, just to follow up because it was not so big at that time, but 2 years following up shows us the aneurysm is getting larger in size, so we decided to treat this patient. This is the 3D reconstruction. And again, putting inside in a overlapping, in a telescopic way. After the babyleo, we deploy S.I.S baby. Thanks to, again, its 17-inch macrocatheter compatibility, which is important. Getting through the first stent, the braided stent, is not a big issue. Of course, you can put directly S.I.S baby also in this patient. It's an option, which is also, again, not a big issue. Here you can see the stagnation at the aneurysm just after the deployment. You can see the vasocity of the patient. We decided not to extend the stents in the M1 segment to stay, not to jail the upper branch. And just after the procedure, AP and lateral shows very nice stagnation at the aneurysm. And I want to share the 6-month result of the patient with a nice reconstruction without any filling at the aneurysm. And as a conclusion, being able to deploy a flow diverter stent from a 17-inch macrocatheter in a very wide range up to 3.25 millimeter is a real revolution, I think. It's the second generation of flow diverter stents. And thanks to advancing technology, which helps us to treat even very distally located aneurysms in a more straightforward way without spending so much effort to treat these aneurysms. And its opening, its conformability, its radial force is, I think, also very important not to lose that features while maintaining a lower system compatibility. So there is no difference comparing to, I mean, you have all experience with the babyleo. It's how it opens smoothly without any problem. This one is also, when you use it, you will see it is very smooth to open it and very straightforward device. So we are very happy with the S.I.S baby. So I want to thank you with a view from the Galata Tower, Istanbul, and I also want to thank again with your hospitality. I'm very happy to hear, and I collect a lot of memories in this beautiful geography. Asia Pacific is some place that I will never forget. I want to thank you all. So it's okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. It was a nice experience, especially on the small 017 microcatheter delivery. Any question?
And I want to add something, sorry, in case of no question, because we talked with Professor Baxter also about the anti-agrement regimen. I want to add that. You will also ask it? Okay. Yeah. So our preference is the same actually for like all the stents for 6 months double antiaggregation, and after that we stop one to switch just aspirin up to 1 year. One difference, if we prefer ticagrelor, we put the patient under dual antiaggregation with aspirin for ticagrelor, but if we prefer prasugrel, it's totally safe to use it just one monoaggregation with S.I.S baby also. So for 6 months just prasugrel, and after that switch to just aspirin up to 1 year, then we finish the antiaggregation. That's our strategy.
Great talk.
Thank you.